Hello, I'm Beasley Heel, and in today's video, because it's Tuesday, we're doing a character spotlight on an anime character. Now, today's anime character will be Uryū from Bleach. For those of you who don't know who that is, he is a Quincy. So normally in the Bleach storyline, we see Soul Reapers. Soul Reapers use their Zanpakuto to eliminate hollows and you bring their spirit to the spirit world. Well, the Quincy's do it a little differently. They use spiritual pressure, absorb it in from the atmosphere, create bows and arrows, and shoots the hollows and disintegrates the soul completely. So that is Uryū. Uryū is the last, supposedly the last Quincy. So we first meet him in the story, um, basically kind of the bad guy. He decides to have a little competition with Ichigo, um, and decides to use a hollow bait to add a bunch of hollows into the city, and Ichigo and Uryū both had to eliminate hollows. The one who had the most, well, was the winner. The battle ends with a Menos Grande, who is a very powerful hollow, comes in, and Ichigo uses too much of his spiritual energy, and because of that, Uryū absorbs it into a bow, into his arrow, and shoots it, so that way Ichigo doesn't die. This sparks the friendship in the beginning. So then he decides to join forces with the not the Arankar. What do they call themselves? I don't remember. It's awful. But they break into the spirit world where Rukia is held captive. So in this, he has two major battles. The first one is with a ranking officer, um, Gerbo, who uses a Zanpakuto that has spinning tops. So Uryū is able to defeat him with ease. I mean, he's not even a challenge for him. His final fight in the story arc of this particular arc is with Kurosaki, Captain Kurosaki. Now, Captain Kurosaki is captain of Squad 12, which is research and development. He is somebody who is psychotic. I will say that without an issue. So the two of them fight it out. Forces Kurosaki to actually have to use his Bankai. His Bankai being a massive caterpillar with blades underneath its throat and able to shoot out poison. Uryū realizes that he has breathed in the poison and decides to break his device that's on him that releases all his spiritual pressure to defeat Kurosaki. He uses one blast that rips through Kurosaki's Bankai and eliminates most of Captain Kurosaki. Because of all the experiments done to him, he was able to survive, turn himself into liquid, and get out of there. But Uryū is the winner. So the lieutenant of Squad 12 gives Uryū the antidote because she knew that he saved Kurosaki's life, Captain Kurosaki's life, because he could have easily eliminated him with that blast. Now, because of what he did and malfunction of his equipment, he actually lost all of his spiritual pressure, which in turn made him lose his power. So, during the time of the Arankar invasion on Earth, or the real world, however you want to call it, Uryū had to go through severe training with his father to gain his spiritual pressure back. Now, this took a lot to get through, and at the end, he was actually able to do so. So, in the next story arc, in the invasion of Hueco Mundo, he was actually able to help out. Um, he was able to help out with the invasion. Now, with this, he fought 3 battles, 2 of which he lost. So the first one was with a um, a Rancor in the basement of Waco Mundo, and he was able to take him out pretty easily with his new weapon, his kind of spiritual sword. Then we had Uryū and Renji teaming up against Espada Grandes. Now, this one apparently is considered a draw, but I thought it was a loss because Kurosaki had to come in and actually save them. They were actually getting their bodies destroyed from the inside out. With his ability, he was able to absorb, with the Espada number nine's ability to absorb their body and make little copies and pull out body parts and crush them, and it would crush the actual body part, caused a lot of problem. Then his next fight was a short one because it was with Ichigo in his hollified form, his fully hollified form, and actually took out Uryū with ease. It wasn't even a fight. So in the next one, we had the story arc called The Tale of the Lost Agent. This is where Ichigo had already used all of his spiritual pressure to defeat Aizen. And basically, the entire crew is defending the city on hollows, Uryū being one of them. Uryū gets attacked by one of these guys who found a way to use spiritual pressure without being while being human. So with that, one of them, who is Ginjo, he was actually a fallen substitute Soul Reaper like Ichigo and trying to get his powers back, and was going to use Ichigo to do so. Well, Uryū and Ichigo team up and fight him, and the two of them actually beat him. So that was basically the main story arc for Uryū. He was very much a side character. Later on, he gets into the Quincy Blood War, but in the grand scheme of things, Uryū is a member of the group, and even though he's a Quincy, he teams up with the Soul Reapers a lot, even though he's not a fan of them. And because of that, the Soul Reapers have been able to continue doing their work because of the help of Uryū. Now, that's his story. Let's talk about his equipment. So he has the Quincy Cross, which is added to his arsenal after he loses his spiritual pressure to begin with, which gives him a new bow and arrow that can shoot a lot of arrows at once. Then he has his Seal Schneider, which is actually his soul-cutting sword, which can be used as an arrow if need be. He also has his Hollow Bait, which is one of the things we see him use in the very beginning of the series. He has many different things. He uses his Saibal Drat, which makes like a pentagon around one of the. Oh, I'm sorry. No, this one actually is. This is actually something that stores up spiritual energy. Sorry, I'm thinking of something else. Spiritual pressure that you can use against an opponent. Now, he uses it specifically when he no longer has the spiritual pressure. He also has the anti-Arankar mine, which this one looks like a pentagram and actually uses an explosion to cause damage to his opponent. He used to have the Latent Heart, which is the gift of the glove that he had, which made a very powerful Quincy bow, which is what he broke, which released so much spiritual pressure and was able to defeat Captain Kurosaki, but in the end caused him to lose all of his spiritual pressure. He had a Quincy Bangle, but that was only in the bout invasion, so I don't count that. He also has the landmine that he used, which is very similar to his anti-Arankar mine, but it was much more powerful. And he was able to injure Yami because of it. And then he has the silver hour arrowhead, um, which was this was actually given to him during the Blood War, so I actually don't know anything about it. But anyway, let's talk about his powers and abilities. So his powers and abilities are antithesis, which is he's able to designate any two targets and completely reverse anything that was already occurred between the two of them. So in this, he can actually heal himself and cause damage to his opponent. He has Alshaween immunity. He's the only one to have survived the effects of it. And he not only survived it, but he actually retained all of his powers. That was the bow that he had that broke to release all the spiritual pressure. He eventually got it back, but it was not an easy task to do. He has a reishi manipulation. He's able to absorb spiritual energy from the atmosphere and combine it with his own to create weapons, specifically his bow and arrows. He's highly skilled in the use of the technique. Uh, uh, I'm going to say this wrong. Hirakazuki expert, um, and he was able to master it at such a young age. We also have the ability to. Sorry, he has the ability to use spiritual energy to manipulate their own body. In the case of paralysis, so if somebody happens to cause him to be paralyzed, he can actually force the spiritual pressure to use his body as well. He has a Ginto expert, which is very similar to Keto, but it's through Quincy, um, through the Quincy abilities. He's a master archer. He's able to manipulate his arrows to go in the direction he wants, which is not easy to do. He's an expert swordsman, even though it's not something he normally uses. He's an expert in hand-to-hand combat. He has excellent spiritual awareness, so he's able to know what's going on around him. He has high spiritual power in general, and he is just a master of the Quincy ability in general. He's highly intelligent and has great athleticism. He's multilingual. He has excellent medical knowledge. And obviously, he has his spirit bow, which is used a lot to help him. Now, overall, that is Uryū's powers and abilities, and the fights he fought inside the Bleach manga. And I'm sorry, not the manga, in the anime. Now, the anime will be coming back, and they'll be doing the Quincy Blood War. But for now, that's everything I have on Uryū. So, as always, if you like the content you see, please like and subscribe below. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Also, if you have an anime character you'd like me to do, please let me know in the comments below. I still have 3 other Tuesdays, so we can do a lot. That being said, I still have a long way to go for this month of 30-day challenge. So, other than that, this is going to be Beastly Eel signing out. Have a good night.